What's the name of the shit?
Winner Circle Podcast.
All right, cool.
Winner Circle Podcast.
Oh no, a terrible name.
No, that's solid.
All these names are terrible.
That's better. That's better. Winner Circle's better.
Better than what?
Anything we had before.
And there you go, folks.
The non-memorable ones.
Yeah, the last one was just called, we don't have a name for this podcast, but now we do. It's called the Winner Circle because, listen, the Winner Circle is not guaranteed. Well, shit, it is kind of for the ones that put in the work.
I guess so.
Oh, that's bright. Did you see that?
No.
Dang. All right, what's up, everybody? We are here in the Winner Circle with my man, Kevin Fees. We're dropping this podcast. Kevin, introduce yourself. Tell them a little bit about you.
How's it going? Kevin Fees. Been on the team for 3 years now. Went to the best university in the state of Michigan.
Yeah, he's like, he put this up. He's like, can I prop this? I said, I don't care, bro.
Just enjoyed that. Graduated from the best university in the state of Michigan, Western Michigan.
Not the best football team necessarily, because I think that's proven now that that's Michigan after last night.
You know, I'd like to see him head-to-head again.
Would you really?
Let's see it. Run it back. Believe in the Broncos.
Did they play this year together against each other?
I can't remember if they played this year. It's been done in the past. It was ugly. I can't remember if it was this year.
So you probably don't want to see that again.
No, probably not. Cool. But we're hopeful always.
I mean, if they played today, they might actually win.
That's right. Let's get them while they're weak.
Anyway, what's up, everybody? Welcome. John Wentworth here, Wentworth Real Estate Group, Winner Circle Podcast. And we need a new microphone hookup here. This thing is a little limp.
Gonna have to hold it.
Just gonna have to hold it. Anyway, let's jump right in, man.
Yeah.
Talking about real estate, talking about your personal development changes. And I think that's where I always want to go with this is, yeah, we can talk about real estate, but you've made so many leaps and bounds in your personal development. I actually just made a Facebook post about you, and that was kind of the main thing that I was thinking of is like the personal changes come first before the business, I think what you'd say kind of takes off. Tell us a little bit about that.
I think you hit it nail on the head, and we're in a business that it's not transaction today, paid tomorrow.
It requires discipline.
It requires discipline. It's following up with people and following through with people, and it's oftentimes paid in 30 days, 60 days, 6 months.
Yeah.
Or takes, I had someone this year that I met my first year in the business that we bought a house and closed on. So and then someone else I met
them 2 years ago.
Yeah, and then someone else I met in like April, and I sold them 2 houses before July, and like they're great people too. Like,
right.
So it's just you got to take advantage of all those different opportunities.
Don't you think there's a time? Because when you say that, it makes me think of this. Don't you think there's this moment where you recognize, okay, nothing else matters anymore. I was focused on the wrong things. I just need to take care of people.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Because you just said that, like you're like the people that bought 2 years ago are great people, and these people that bought 2 right away are great people too. It doesn't really matter when or what they bought.
Yeah, absolutely. And I actually shared a Andrew for sale post today about just you have to take care of yourself first to be able to pour into others, and that's to be selfless. You have to be selfish.
I did see that post,
and like that's just something I think I realized that over a year ago, and it just took a year of work to start finally seeing the reward of it. And now it's about, now that we're talking about it, now I got to continue to be about it, right? And it's the consistency part. Like I remember in our one-on-one last year talking about just wanting to be consistent, and now having, 2 deals a month, taking it to 3-4 deals a month, and leveling up and still just polishing to be better every day.
And that's what it's all about. Like I remember when I was selling, literally I had a whiteboard, and my goal was always to fill it. So, and it was the pendings, right? So it was to always fill it and then up it by 1 every single time.
Yeah.
So it got to the point where 8, 9, 10 pending at a time. Well, what do you do then? Then you got to get another whiteboard, and it's 11, 12, 13, and so you do have to always up your game. But so tell us about that journey, because I think so often people think about personal development, or they think about, listen, the parallel is going to the gym. The parallel is usually dieting or losing weight or something like that. And I always feel like so many people, someone will say to me, how long have you been going to the gym? And I'm like, 3 years. You know what I mean? But nothing really shows in the first month. Nothing really shows in the first 3 months. I mean, shit, sometimes it's 6 months to a year before you really see the result.
Yeah.
And people get lost in the first couple of weeks.
Yeah. You have to it's funny you say, because I was an athlete too. I played Division III hockey, played hockey. That was what I dedicated my high school life to.
Yeah.
And I've never been in better shape in my life. I actually weigh less today than I ever did playing competitive hockey. I have way less body fat, and that's just from dialing in, not just working. I always worked out, and I always had different trainers. Did CrossFit for hockey. I skated 5-6 days a week.
Yeah, and let me tell you something. When you're skating, I mean, you're shredding. You're losing a lot of water, right? Because I played hockey as well. I mean, when I played with the Generals, I was 35 years old, and I got down to 170 because you're on the ice every single day, twice a day usually.
Yeah. And so when I, over the last year, just focusing on taking care of myself and doing all the right things, start getting the positive feelings and the wins start stacking up, and all I can see is the wins and the opportunities, and it feels good, and I just keep riding the wave, and you start winning, you just want to win more. And
that's the biggest thing I see in you is your outward happiness. Like, seriously, you know what I mean? Like, obviously, you had a great month last month, right? Four closed, 5 pending, just over 3 million in volume in 1 month in December, right? When everyone's like, oh, it's so slow, and you made the most of it. But what I always see from you, because you did a presentation to our team a couple weeks ago, is that outward happiness, and and this gets into that confidence piece when you do all those other things. And you stay in the trenches and you stay disciplined and you gain those little wins, like you said, it starts to come out of you in who you are, right? Because you have this internal happiness because you're proud of yourself.
Yeah, absolutely.
And
you're not worried about the misses you had in a day, or and this is another relevant thing I heard was that just having the priority list, like Andy, we'll talk about it all day.
Heck yeah. We did it the other day with McCullough because we talked about 75 hard.
Just all the little things that he implements, like using the priority list.
Yeah.
Writing the most important shit you got to get done in a day. In real estate, we have 86 just things that are part of our job.
Right.
And then there's other things you got to do to grow your business. And so that's what I try. Not worrying about knowing I got to just do the parts of my job that you have to do. And then what are 5 things I can do that are going to grow me as a person. Extra. Yeah. My business and myself personally, and my relationship too, right?
Yeah.
So
that's huge. Go there a little bit because I think too often people just don't talk about that, right? Tell us more about that. The things that I need to do personally to grow my relationship, and what does that look like? Who's that with?
I mean, with Jillian, we've been together for 7 years now, and we just moved. So we were dating in all through college, long distance. Even our closest time together was 40 minutes, I think, 30 minutes. So still a little bit of distance, some people would say. And so, but then you get into business with real estate, and it's not a normal business that a lot of people our age are into. Right. And it's a wild schedule.
A lot of sacrifice.
Yeah, in the first year, you don't know how to handle it. So just, things get lost. Things are messy. And that, I think it correlates to everywhere. Like we talked about, you get messy in the gym, messing on your gym. You get messy on your diet. Then you don't feel as good. Then your relationship's not as good. Then your relationship with your clients isn't as good. Versus taking care of myself personally has made me, it makes us more excited to see each other, I think. Yeah. And when, like I said, I know that I've taken care of my shit in a day, then when I go home and she's had a long day at school and I've had a long day of real estate, then we can just hang out and be together and, get ready for the next day, really.
Right.
So.
Isn't that funny? I think so often, and how old are you?
26.
26, right? So.
That's the thing.
Let
me help you out.
It's stripped out. Somebody too strong started cranking on it. But I don't remember where I was going to go. I think we talk about being a young athlete, right?
Yeah.
And because of your age and because of the calories you burn, and you can make choices that don't affect you as you get older and your life changes. I mean, I'm 51, right? So I'm like, everything impacts. Everything I eat impacts me, right?
Yeah.
But it's like.
Well, I think
you learn that discipline as you age.
Yeah, and I was saying that too because I just didn't realize what I was missing. That hey, if I would have taken my shit serious when I was playing in a position when I was in juniors, I theoretically had the opportunity to play Division I with anybody, right? But I look back and it's man, I wasn't taking my diet serious. I was showing up to practice, but was I excited to be at practice? And I look at that with regret.
Yeah.
And do I? You talk about missing hockey and missing sports all you want, and it's some days I do, some days I don't. But when I look back, it's man, if I would have figured this shit out at 12 years old, I don't know where I'd be.
Well, and I think sometimes, for me, you got to have somebody to help you figure it out. You know what I mean? You've got to have that. Nobody's born with tremendous discipline. They could be raised with it, but usually if they're raised with it, I think it's very very top down, very do this or else.
Yeah.
You're not really learning.
And
so then you
rebel.
become resentful towards it, right? That's one of the things that right now I'm like, I just try to keep going like this so much at home because you're towing that line all the time with kids. It's like it is utterly difficult. It's a beautiful thing also, but man, when these kids turn 13, 14, 15, I mean, I can't even imagine. My dad used to always say, "You drive me to drinking," right? And I know that's bullshit. But at the same time, I'm like, maybe it wasn't, because I can only imagine how I was. But I think what I was getting at is because you brought up you and Jillian like getting ready for the next day, and I think when we're younger or when we're just going through the motions and we're not super passionate about something, we just let life happen, as opposed to preparing for something as much as the next day, right?
Yeah.
And I think so often too people are chasing like. And I think our society conditions us to this, especially young going through college. Like every night's a party night. Everything's fun.
Yeah.
And then you got to figure out winning is more fun than fun.
Yeah.
Fun is fun, but fun doesn't last.
Yeah.
Winning lasts.
Yeah.
That's why we're in the winner circle, right?
That's
so when you said that, it's like I just envisioned that. Like you guys are at home, you had dinner, you're chilling out. It doesn't have to be a party. We're enjoying each other, and then we're getting ready to go do it again.
Yeah, and I mean, other things you talk like the freedom. Where last year we talked about like how slow it was. Like it's such a dark time, and it's the holidays. It's my anniversary. It's New Year's, and I had no money, and I was losing money every day, right? And you still want to do something nice for your significant other, your partner, 6 years, and oh yeah, we can do the steak dinner, no problem. And you're just sweating it. Where like this year, it's like, should we order everything? Yeah, not really. But
well, you said
it's just the freedom to be able to treat others on the holidays and like donate and be able to do the things that you want to do and not have to be worried about it. And it's just completely 180 from where I was at 1 year ago.
Well, and that's just amazing in 1 year what you can do also. You know what I mean? And I think that's, again, that goes back to almost where we started, like with working out or with dieting or whatever it is. You've got to be able to sustain that. And I think too often people jump in and they're going to do something huge, but they can't sustain it. As opposed to saying like the critical task list, these are the things I know if I nail these things every single day, the rest will take care of itself.
That's right.
Yeah. So talk to us about real estate in general. You've been in real estate 3 years. You're obviously really gaining. I would say like you're finding. Everybody goes through this too, by the way. Like you're not the anomaly. Everybody, they're trying to figure it out. They get some success. They take their foot off the gas. Like they go through these ebbs and flows, and then they either figure it out or they don't.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And it seems that you've figured it out. Like you're just like, this is just who Kevin Fees in real estate is now. And where do you think that comes from? Like why that switch went off?
I don't really I'm not necessarily so sure. I think I saw like being here, I saw exactly like market was slowing down. Market's slowing down, but it's not stopping other people, and it's especially not stopping the new people. Like, so I knew there was an answer out there, and so I had just decided like I went all in on the self-education and like really started to learn of what's going on with the interest rates. So when a buyer asks a question, it wasn't involving the lender right away. Like I could have those filter questions and like know how to have an educated conversation with them, and knowing how to get people to confidently take that next step when maybe they, it's kind of crazy out there. We're not sure. Oh, okay, well, hey, have you thought about this? Have you thought about that? We can do this. There's different, real estate is so flexible with what you can do. And if you're not, like, it all comes back to just being a good person and knowing that we're here to just be a resource for people when they're trying to make a move. And that day is going to come for somebody eventually.
But having that education and having that awareness to share something that somebody may not know, because this is what I always say, like, people say, sales, right? Mm-hmm. You're in real estate sales. I've never talked somebody, I would never want to, but you never talk somebody into doing something they don't want to do. Right. Our job is to give them enough information so that they can make the right choice. Yeah. But what you just said is important, because an agent that isn't equipped with that knowledge and can't have those open dialogue conversations with people. Instead, when they say that, well, we hear this is going on in the market, so we're just going to retract, they say what?
Okay. Oh, okay.
Okay. All right, well, when you're ready.
I'll let you know.
I'll be here when you're ready.
Yeah.
Well, really, they're ready now. They're just not equipped well enough to make that decision now.
Yeah. And another, I guess one-liner, slogan, sales pitch thing is just when you're, our job as salespeople is to keep find out what the consumer's goal is, and when we keep our relationship and the conversation based completely around that goal, it's not sales.
Right.
We're here to build relationships with people. We want to build relationships in our local communities, and we know that those people are ready. You know, they need to move. They need a roof over their head, and we just want them to be in good hands when they see a house they love and it's been on the market for 30 days, like some have right now, and they're like, but rates are at like 6.5. It's like, hey, we can buy that down. We can get the seller to pay to buy that down for you.
You can? What's that look like?
Exactly. And we just started the conversation.
Yeah.
And
too often, I think that's a disservice to the client. It's not even about whether you get the sale or not. It's a disservice to the client because all of the options weren't put on the table.
Right.
Right? And I think that's what's so interesting, because here's the thing, and I think I answered my own question when I asked you what kind of flipped for you. You made the decision to do it.
I think that was kind of it too, and not be afraid to go deeper with clients and we were talking about this morning in our Zillow meeting, just you just got to put it out there sometimes, and it's going to reward you.
Yeah.
And,
well, I always say the information gives them the option to get off the fence or not. Mm-hmm. They still may choose to stay on the fence. They still may choose to wait. But did you go all in, right? Did you give them every single option that's possible so that they can make their best decision?
And if you got off the fence, we still want you to come to Fall Fit Fest in October, right?
I don't get it.
We're still following up with you.
Oh, yeah.
You're still invited. You're still invited to our events and be a part of our community.
That's a great point. You lost me there, but what he's saying is, even if now isn't the time, that's fine. We still want to build a relationship with these people, right?
That's
so
right.
We're still inviting them to Fall Fit Fest. We're inviting them, getting them involved in the things that we do. But very good point, and I think that kind of is what triggered me. When I asked what kind of flipped for you, I think it's that you embrace the fact that I can do this. Mm-hmm. It can be done. I can do it. It can be done here. The rewards are plentiful. I just have to go all in, and by going all in means I have to do more. Mm-hmm. I have to take the initiative to go self-learn. I have to take the initiative to listen to podcasts, because you do a lot of listening to podcasts, mm-hmm. right? I never did that. I mean, I guess maybe that was for me, I'm 51, right? So when I started in real estate, there were no friggin' podcasts. Yeah. But what's crazy is I started a podcast 5 years ago. Uh-huh. And so as much as I talk about follow through and all this stuff, I started that podcast, I think we did 5 episodes and I stopped, right? And I was like, why did I stop? Well, when we left Remax, everything broke down, moved, disheveled, all this stuff going on, moving to a building, and we just never set it back up. And that's a lame excuse, because then we did set it back up and I never did it. But sometimes we have other priorities that, kind of dictate what we do. What are the priorities for you moving into 2024? Because we kind of talked about, we were joking around beforehand about logos and this and that, and I've done plenty of videos about logos don't matter, business cards don't matter, none of that stuff matters. What matters is the work that you do every day. Mm-hmm. So what are the things that you need? And I actually said to you, just keep doing what you're doing. Yeah.
That's what I talked about, right? Yeah. That's what you were talking about. Everyone making changes here, and it's I made those changes last year, so I'm just gonna stick to the plan this year. Which my plan is, I already said, Andy for Sales 5 priority list. Yeah. I know the things I need to do in my job role, and I try hard as heck every day to get those done by 5 p.m. Sometimes they're not done. That's okay. And then those 5 priorities that are going to grow my business or myself personally that are pushing, just 1% better every day.
Do you keep the critical task list written down? Do you keep it in your phone?
Yeah, paper. And if I don't have paper, I write it on my phone, and then when I get to my desk or paper, I write it on paper and start the list, because I have to cross it off. I need to...
You want to put the W on it.
Yeah, we got to put the W. We count the W's. Yep. And that way, you track... I'm big on tracking, too. That's when you stop tracking, you don't know what you're doing. Right. And
this is the biggest thing, as the leader of a company and watching people come in and come out, and it's man, if you're not willing to track what you're doing, it's so hard to help somebody. You can't even help yourself if you don't know where you're struggling.
Yeah. And the proof's in the numbers, right? Yeah. For anything, right. Interactivity, and so it's just, you got to track everything, and then when there's no results, you look back, you're like, oh man, week. I really didn't have a good week, and there's no one else to look at yourself. And if I feel like any time in November you can pull aside to have this conversation, and it's maybe that week I only had 3 of 5 wins that week, right? Or it wasn't as good as some others, right. But another big change also is just like not drowning in that and like knowing it's a new week or it's a new day and just like still fighting for the next one.
What other podcasts do you listen to besides Frisella?
Real AF's like he's a big one. Alex Ramosi, I watch his YouTube. I'm big on YouTube. Okay. Alex Ramosi and Andy Elliott's a like sales trainer, and I always tell you guys preach a lot of the same message. So that's
of Andy Elliott.
Yeah,
I have to check him out. I think you've told me about him, but you've sent me a video, but I don't. I still don't listen to or watch a lot of podcasts. I'll listen to Frisella when I go walk. Yeah, that's kind of my.
I mean, and my friend, like, I've got other friends out there that send me podcasts here and there, so I'll listen to
an episode of something.
The one-offs of, or if I see somebody that I'm curious about going on a podcast, I just click on that. And then I listen to other like podcasts are more like real estate oriented, so I listen to all the Bigger Pockets podcasts, On the Market podcasts, Robert Kiyosaki's podcast every so often, but like I guess the personal development's more of the Alex Ramosi we talked about, Frisella, Andy Elliott are my guys there.
What do you think the consumer, like, I mean, it's January 9th? Is it? January 9th.
Sounds right.
It is. It's January 9th. What does a consumer right now need to know heading into 24? Like, because I know that, at the end of the day, the consumers, they're almost a victim to all the stuff that they hear from the news. Right? Mm-hmm. And the news is so, I always say, like, people ask me, how's the market? And I'm like, where?
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
I was just going to say, the first thought I had when you asked that was like, well, where are you at? And don't pay attention to the news, because the news is most likely talking about like a San Francisco or New York or Florida, which in Plymouth, Ann Arbor, and Fenton, Michigan, Brighton, it's not necessarily relevant.
Right.
And just in most of the markets that we work in here, it's low inventory still through the winter months, as it historically is. And everybody is now talking about the news that is talking about the rate cuts that are coming. And I'm sure, we don't have a crystal ball as realtors, and so we don't know what's
actually going to occur.
What's actually going to occur with those rate cuts. But what I know, what we were talking about is just having that game plan in place and having a conversation. If you have to get a mortgage on a home, if you're a cash buyer and you know your budget, that's fantastic. And if that perfect home is out there for you, it's sitting on the market for 2, 3, over a week or a month on the market. If you can get a deal on that home and pick it up before these rates start to drop and all these buyers that are out on the sidelines start coming in, that's where a deal is going to be found.
Yes.
And
I always relate go ahead.
I was just, if you wait to even have that conversation with a lender and you're saying, oh, I'm not moving till August, I don't need to know about it.
And then one pops up that you love
in June, and you don't have one piece of the puzzle started, you're so far behind the 8 ball, and it costs $0 to talk to a realtor today. And it costs even less money to talk to a lender. You get 16 phone calls, right?
Right.
So they want to have that conversation for you too. And
why do you think, and maybe the consumers can ask themselves, why do you think people wait? Because it's always like, have you spoke to a lender yet? And they're like, oh man, I don't want to do that.
Yeah.
Right? Why do you think that is? Do you think it's just they don't really understand how simple it is?
Yeah, I think they just associate it with like the stereotypical like vulture lender that's like just trying to sell them. They don't I think the real estate business, like, we just kind of get a gray cloud over our heads anyway as salespeople, and they don't understand that
we're just here to serve.
Yeah, and we're not starving, so it doesn't matter really to us at the end of the day.
I say that to everybody, man. This, whether you buy this house or not, it's not going to change my life. It's going to change yours.
Yeah, and so that's So just have that conversation with the lender, so you know exactly what.
Let's go deeper on that, though, right? Like, because if somebody's watching this, and because I always feel like this, what I was going to say is like, it's like the stock market, right? Yeah. Everybody wants to buy at the bottom and sell at the top, but how many people really do that? Very few. I mean, unless you're in politics, probably the only people that are able to pull that off. But it's the same thing. Well, I'm going to wait till the rates drop. Okay, well, if everyone's waiting till the rates drop and the rates drop, guess what happens? Now everybody floods the market. And so to me, timing real estate is more about getting ahead of what everyone else is going to do. Yeah. Where in stock markets, it's trying to do what everybody's trying to do at the same time. To me, in real estate, is getting out ahead of what everyone's trying to do before that time comes. Because, like, you made a great point. Like, everybody wants the rates to be 3% again. Well, if you buy a home at 5%, but you bought it for, I mean, it's kind of difficult to say, but let's say you bought it for 450 instead of 500 because, like you said, it's been on the market a few months, and you didn't wait. You weren't dead set on waiting for the rate to drop. You bought it at 5% or whatever. It doesn't matter, right? The idea is the same. You save 50 grand on it. You know how long it would take you to get that 50 grand back by saving a point? When anyway, you're going to refinance it into it in a year or two anyhow.
Yeah.
I don't know if I just
I don't know if you
butchered
lost me
that.
there. I don't know if you lost me there.
I'm pretty sure I lost everybody there. But I know what I'm saying.
You're good. You're good. No, it's like, yeah, because if you can get if you can get a concession or to come under asking today and get the terms that work for you today, you can still have the advantage of that refinance. When the rates drop, you can refinance that home to the lower rate when it drops.
But you secured the home.
But you secured the home, and you already moved into it. You don't have to go bid against 6, 7, 8 in Ann Arbor. If you're in Ann Arbor, Plymouth, you're going to be bidding against 10, 12, maybe 20 other offers on some of these homes, and it's crazy. It's a 50,000, 100,000 over asking, cash, fully guaranteed. If you're not prepared,
you're going to get walloped.
And you go and you see the perfect home. Yes, you're able to go look at it that day, but if you don't have the pieces in place and you love it, that's a lot of pieces to get in place,
right?
Or you're going to miss out. That's, I think, what you're saying with it's the advantage of getting the
and it's one of those things too. I always, when I used to be in the field, I would tell people, because they would always, what do you think? And it's like, listen, I'm not going to live in the house. You are. But here again, here's how I see things unfolding, and now you have to decide, does that work for you?
And that is one of the things I love about our job is we just find out what those options are, provide them to people, and it's their decision to get on the fence or get off the fence, right? And so that's all we try to do. And if you're looking to buy a house, that we just cannot reiterate enough of get those pieces in place early.
Get out ahead of the curve.
Yeah.
And I think that's so important too because, it gives, I always think about, like, I used to use this analogy with people too in the field, like, I want to sleep good at night.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And if because we've seen this a bunch, right? People jump into the market. When people are thinking about buying, they're always in the market. They may not be out in the field, but they're always on this sucker looking at homes.
Yeah.
And what are you going to do when that perfect home pops up and you haven't done the things that you need to do to get prepared? You're going to be chasing your tail. You're probably not going to sleep real well for a couple of nights because you're going to be going crazy trying to get your stuff in order. Again, these are for people that need to get mortgages. Cash buyer, it's a different story. But you're going to be chasing your tail, trying to get everything in order. You're going to have that fear of losing the house because you didn't have things in order. You're going to lose sleep. But at the end of the day, there's a very good chance you're going to lose the home as well. And it's the same home that you might have been able to buy for a month or two earlier at a higher interest rate.
Yeah.
And so that opportunity then now you're into, like you said, multiple offers, and there's probably a good chance you're going to miss out on it. So it's like, man, dude, get prepared. It costs you nothing to do it. Here's the other thing too that I see people do is they wait to the last second to find a lender, and then they call 5 different lenders.
Yeah.
Well, you can do all that right now.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And have that relationship started. So when you look at a house on Saturday, if they don't typically work on a Saturday, they're going to answer your call because they know that you're out there buying.
Right.
So,
or make sure you're working with somebody that's working. You know what I mean? Like in this fast-paced market, you've got to have somebody that's willing to go to bat for you all the time. Or like on our team, like if for some reason somebody can't do something, Kevin's stepping up and running a show and a home for them, and vice versa. Because what we've learned is we have to be able to get the consumer in the door like that, super fast.
That's right.
Talk to us a little bit more about this personal development journey, because I think this is important, right? Like, we've got some good stuff in real estate, but there's so many people. It's after the new year. I talk about this in team meeting a lot. Like 91% of New Year's resolutions fail by February. And so how do you set your standards? Because I always feel like we hit it. We don't always hit our goals, but we hit our standards. Like, I can stay true to my standard every day. So in this change, and again, you've been an athlete, so you've worked out, you've done all those things, but really getting focused in on, and you shared some of this when you shared with our team, like, what does that perfect day or that typical day look like for you so that you're nailing those standards?
Yeah, I think, like, I will say what my routine looks like, but also I think it comes down to what works for the individual because, and we say this all the time too, not everyone's going to get out there and lift 100 pounds every day in the morning, but getting up and getting active is by getting the blood flowing is that first win every day, and that just gets the energy, the positivity, the energy started. But it may be going for a walk for some people, maybe getting in the gym, CrossFit, going for a swim. I don't know. Who knows? But so yeah, and I think we talked about already. No, I was just saying, there might be a swimmer listening out there. You know, hey, people. Simon was telling me he's a pole vaulter, I guess. So maybe someone wants to some 6 a.m. pole vaults before they get to the office. I don't know. But so my routine starts, like I said, the night before, getting lunches ready, packing my gym bag, having my clothes ready to go, so that in the morning it's just popping coffee pods, getting the pre-workout ready, starting the cars, and just watching some motivational.
You said starting the cars, so you start your wife's car?
Oh, you gotta, well, you know, we're bougie, so it's a remote starter from inside. I don't go outside. Remote start from inside the condo. But you gotta have that ready, because I'm not getting into a cold car, and I can't imagine putting her into a cold car. But I want you guys to get that. That is, I'm saying that is part of the process. Like I remember to do that every morning. And so that is, and the keys are
little things, and you do them so much you don't even have to think about them anymore. Yeah. They're just automatic.
Absolutely.
That's just what you do.
And so then I right into working out in the morning, and then four of the 5 days of the week, I'll hit the sauna for at least 15 minutes every day as well. And then
you know what I found I like doing is hitting the sauna at night.
Really?
Yeah, and I know, like, I've read about it, like, you know, you get too hot, it's hard to sleep, but what I found is, like, I'll go in the sauna, and I don't even, like, I'll wear my clothes. If I have, you know, if I'm at home chilling out and I have sweats and a t-shirt on, I'll go in my clothes, because I don't want to go to the point where I start sweating. Okay. I go right to the point of where I'm about to sweat.
Interesting.
And then I go to bed, and I sleep like a baby when I do that.
I feel like I would lose so much weight if I did that from how much I would be sweating. I can't imagine doing that. Well, I also don't have the luxury of a sauna in my house yet. So one day though.
A lot of people do. Yeah. I mean, listen, we've sold a lot of homes. There's a lot of saunas in houses. Yeah, people don't even use them.
Yeah, it's interesting. That's interesting. But
saunas are kind of becoming a trend again, right?
Yeah, like I think it's
cold plunges.
The cold plunges. Yeah. So I don't cold plunge, but so back to the routine. So then we get in the car and drive up to the office, and so now we have our team huddles at 9:30 every day. So I'm in the office every day by 9:30 to be at our huddle, and from there it's just dialing into having my CRM set up with like top priorities are right there. I don't even have to. If I'm looking for calls, it's probably a bad thing. I mean, I'm slow. Right. So everything that I need to get done in a day should be already like popped up, ready for me to click on. Check the listings that are out there for my active buyers, and then, like I said, focus on those priorities that are new ways to outreach to people and grow my business, or something I want to do, maybe.
Yeah, love it. What are the things that you're doing in your personal life outside of working out, outside of all that? Like, give the people. Are you doing something new in 24? Are you getting back into playing hockey? Like, what's something you want to do for yourself, or what do you enjoy? What are you enjoying outside of work?
Real estate, man. I mean, that's like everyone around the holidays was asking what's new, what's going on. It's like I feel like so busy with work, and I love that aspect of it. And then in my free time, I'm like thinking about how to do more real estate. How I can do more real estate.
Dude, this is so good,
like,
man.
The free time I have is like doing my laundry or meal prepping or
being
like
an adult,
hanging out with our family. Yeah, and it's like adulting. It kind of sucks, but
dude, I think about this like that is so massive, because most people want to play. They they just want to have fun. Yeah. Oh, YOLO, you only live once. It's like, okay, yeah, but you're not living to the fullest of your ability.
I mean, we gotta have fun. We still have fun. I golf. Yeah. I went on golf trips this summer. I still have fun. Don't get me wrong about that. We go out. I go out on the weekends.
But again, it's like everybody thinks everything has to be fun instead of, no, you're a freaking adult, and now it's time to really focus on your good life, your career, the family that you want to build. And guess when you should be doing that shit? Right now.
Yeah, and it's a lot more fun taking care of your shit and going to have fun being in the winter. So like it's so cliche. Like we can make fun of all the little dumb sayings right now, but it's like it's so true that like winning with your shit taken care of and being able to enjoy the fun and enjoy the people you're with is like
100%.
It's so rewarding versus with the first couple of years, it's like you're just flying by the seat of your pants. Yeah. Oh, I gotta handle some stuff. And like sure, things pop up where you're like, hey, I gotta focus for 30 minutes real quick, and I think people understand that now, but like no, it's so much more fun when you take care of yourself and you can just be calm, like enjoy your life.
Bro, when I started in real estate, you know this, I was broke, and all I did all day, 24/7, was real estate.
Yeah.
And once that got, what somebody would call really good, same thing, I just kept doing more of it and more of it and more of it. What's the next thing? What's the next thing? I didn't go on friggin' vacations. None of that stuff mattered to me. I wanted to own this so that down the road, when I wanted to, if having families, having kids, I don't want to miss anything. Right? Mm-hmm. Having the ability to go do that now because we've structured a business that we can do that. And like just all the other things that so many people, I think in entrepreneurship, because at the end of the day, we're all entrepreneurs, like so many people think they're getting into this to do less.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Or they're going to hit a lick and then they don't have to do it anymore.
Mm-hmm. And
you're just always, if you're in it to really serve others and to grow something special, you're always freaking doing more. There's no taking your foot off the gas.
And the problems are definitely more. You get a busy month, there's more problems, but it's like...
I'll never forget, what Stacy was our TC. She was our everything, right?
Yeah.
And she's like, man, I just feel like there's, this is like when we had 8 or 10 pending, we're getting going, right? And she's like, I just feel like there's so much more problems. I'm like, well, embrace that, because if you got one deal, you're going to have fewer problems.
Yeah, that's right.
If you got 15, you're going to have, but they're just challenges that you learn to work through. And I think that's important. Talk to us about this, like words, the way we think, the way we speak.
Mm-hmm.
People say, I have a problem. I say, we have a challenge. Just those little things. We talk about this a little out in the office. I get to, as opposed to I have to, right?
Committed versus goals. That's like I'm like brainwashed to that 100%. I don't even think about goals. It's like I'm committed to now.
You're right.
But that's just all part of the mindset shift.
Yeah.
And I think I don't know, whenever I take something with a negative, when I am negative now, I realize it and I know the situation sucks. And I look back to, and this goes back to hockey, I look back at all the different volunteer events and just the negative mindset I had going to have to do shit when I just wanted to be lazy playing video games,
Right.
And now I'm like, okay, it sucks that it's on the calendar, but
I'm going to embrace it.
If you embrace it, everything's so much more enjoyable.
A buddy once told me, he goes, wherever you are, be there.
Yeah.
You got to do it. You may as well be there. You may as well be present.
Yeah.
And you may as well make the most of it.
Yeah.
And I think that's so important too, because I think that becomes, it takes character to do that, but it also becomes our identity. If we can shift that and we can really be focused. Did you watch the game last night, right?
Yeah.
Did you hear the announcer talking about J.J. McCarty doing the neuropsychological stuff on his brain when he's meditating?
I didn't pay attention. I'm not the biggest Michigan fan here, so I didn't pay attention too much to J.J. McCarthy, but I do know that he is into he's very the visualization.
But it's the same thing that I'm doing right now, right?
Yeah.
That's the whole thing that Milet taught me, and that's what's really catapulted my not drinking. I don't even think about it anymore because I'm so focused on this neurochemistry and doing this highlight reel that I do every day. But what we're talking about right now is changing our outlook on things from ho-hum or negative or blase blah to, listen, it's on the calendar. If I go do it with a positive attitude, something very good actually may come out of it. And I don't have to live in that misery of being a bum.
Yeah.
Because I
don't want to be here.
Exactly. I have to assume there's people that show up in the field in real estate appointments with that attitude.
Yeah.
Right?
I think we're guilty of it, right?
Yeah.
We've all been guilty of it.
Because if you're doing that everywhere else in your life, that just like if you're doing all the other stuff positive in your life, that's going to spill over into your business. If you're doing all the negative things, that's going to spill over into your business as well.
Absolutely.
And we hear that a lot from from our clients. They'll say, this realtor, negative attitude, showed up dressed like a bum, all these different things. And for us, we're like, we can't even fathom that, but that exists out there. And that just kind of hit me. It's like, because they're living everything else in their life like that as well.
Yeah.
And then it carries forward into that.
Yeah.
Give us something for 2024. What's a big commitment for you?
Mic down.
Mic down.
Oh, I had something good I was going to share, I think, but I lost it. It happens. No, just sticking, like I said, like we talked about, sticking to the plan, just trying to be consistent in the plan and
trying to be or
being consistent in the plan and growing and find those 1% things that are pushing the limits and one to work with good people, being a good person, one to work with good people, really.
Isn't that something though? That's such a big thing too. Like working with good people is such a blessing.
Absolutely.
I mean, it truly is because, man, there are some people out there, no matter what you do, you know what I mean? You just can't, you know how they say what do they say? The customer's always right?
Yeah.
Well, not always.
No.
You know what I mean? Especially, it's like, if I'm a customer and I'm walking into something and I don't even know what the hell I'm talking about, how can I be right in that?
Yeah.
So I need somebody to educate me and tell me how it actually works. And I think that's so relative if you go into this business like, well, the customer's always right. Well, they don't even know what they're talking about.
Yeah.
They're coming to us because they need our expertise and our knowledge. But man, working with good people is awesome. I love working with you. You're good people. I'm proud of you, dude. I mean, seriously, like
love you, bro.
when you spoke a couple weeks ago to the you led the training.
Mm-hmm.
I literally, this sounds so cheesy, but I felt like a proud dad in the back. You know, I'm like, man. Listen, you got to remember, everybody in this room, I remember the day they came here.
Yeah.
I remember the first week. I remember, all those things. And to see the growth of people is literally like, that makes my heart very fulfilled, right? Obviously, I want to see you do good and be able to provide and all that stuff. But to see the transition in people's presence, I think is a really good word. In their presence is really cool. And I'm seeing that in you, and I'm proud of you, bro. So you're welcome.
Appreciate that.
All right, gang. Thank you so much for tuning in. Kevin Fees, love you, brother. Great work.
Get your keys with Kevin Fees 2024. Thank you.
There you go. Get your keys with Kevin Fees. Throw on some cheese. Peace out, guys. Thank you for coming to the Winner's Circle.
Thank you.